Movie buffs, welcome back to the Movie Bag. This is Dee. In today's video, I'm going to do subscriber requested number 2. The subscriber for this video wanted to see 10 movies of people of historical significance. So I decided, now they didn't request who, what, when, why. So I took it upon myself to just do 10 people of significant value to whether it be American culture, world culture, but I'm leaving people outside of entertainment. I'm leaving entertainers out. That includes singers, actors, sports figures. Now, there's a lot of people in those areas that did blaze trails and make a difference. But for this video, I'm going to leave them out. And I can do a video with them later. But for now, we're just going to take a look at 10 really good movies of people of significant value to history. And I got one honorable mention, and I'm going to leave for the end, because this one guy is very controversial. I was going to put him on the list, but I just think the 10 people that I did feature in the list takes priority over him, but I got to throw him in too. So without further ado, subscriber requested number 2, people of significant value in history. We'll say that. Starting with The Passion of the Christ. Now, again, this one is all about where you stand religiously. This, again, if you are a religious person and you believe you are a believer, this movie is powerful. And if you're not, this is still a fantastic movie. It's a very difficult watch. It is a very difficult watch. Mel Gibson caught a lot of flack for this, but he also got a lot of praise for this. This movie is incredible. If you've never seen this movie, check this one out. And if you're a believer and you never saw this one, you definitely need to check this one out. It's called The Passion of the Christ. This movie is about basically the life and death and the resurrection. Well, it's not so much about the resurrection. You see that at the end. But it's about the life and death of Jesus Christ. It's all about mainly, the backbone of the movie is the crucifixion. And man, that scene. Oof. Okay. Jim Caviezel, his career, I'm surprised his career didn't really take off like a rocket after this, but it really didn't. Fantastic movie, my goodness. Passion of the Christ. Next up, you can't talk about American history / world history without talking about Dr. Martin Luther King. His contributions to the civil rights movement is undeniable. A lot of things was done in his life, but quite a few significant bills got passed in his death. Martin Luther King died at a very young age. He was assassinated in his 30s. Very young, died very soon, left behind a legacy, left behind a great family. Dr. Martin Luther King. This movie is called King. And it's not a very easy movie to find. I know I've brought this movie up several times, but it makes quite a few different lists. It really does. And I'm saying this is a great movie for any of you guys who have seen this or want to get this. It's not the easiest to find. I know my guy Neil over at Neil's Movie Channel. He's trying to get a copy of it, but it's proven to be a little bit difficult depending on where you look. But shout out to Neil Movie Channel, guys. Look, real quick, go check out Neil's Movie Channel. He's a small channel, but I tell you what, his knowledge of film is incredible. He does like pickup videos, but he also does reviews, and his taste in movies is mwah. He's into the vintage stuff. Great movie. I think I like Neil's taste in movie, but I also like his accent too. He seems like a very pleasant guy, and his videos are very calm and very relaxing. So go check out Neil's Movie Channel. He's one of my subscribers. He interacts with almost all my videos, and I interact with his videos. He got great videos and good content. Go check him out. And tell him D sent you. Next up, again, I'm not going to say opposite to Martin Luther King, but just different. Him and Martin had the same dream for black people, but they went about it different ways. Malcolm X, played by Denzel Washington. Malcolm X is an American icon, but he's a special icon to black people. But no doubt, Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, I want to be very clear, they are American icons. Everybody know who they are, but they are very special to black people because of the way they fought for black people, the way they lived and died fighting for black people. So that's Malcolm X. Fantastic movie. Great movie. Next up, we got Jeff Bridges and Tucker. Now, Tucker, yes, he's significant to history because Tucker Preston went to fight the big three, and the big three took him down, but he put up a hell of a fight. Tucker, this car is called the Torpedo. There's clean examples of this car still around. The last one, I'm not sure how long ago it was. Could have been a couple years ago, but the last one to sell at Barrett Jackson Auto Auction. For those of you, that's like the creme de la creme of auto auctions. One of these in pristine condition sold for like $3 million. So the car was so ahead of its time, it scared Ford, GM, and Chrysler. Scared the hell out of them. And they fought like hell. A lot of money was exchanged hands. There was a lot of corruption involved. They wanted to tank Preston Tucker, and they did. They tanked this company. They bankrupted them. It was a great movie, though, but based on a true event. Jeff Bridges, Tucker, A Man in His Dream. Fantastic movie. Based on real events. The car, like I said, the car is still around. Clean examples of those cars go for millions of dollars. Next up, I think, if I'm not mistaken, only like 40 of them survived. Anyway, next up, we got Leonardo DiCaprio as J. Edgar, as in J. Edgar Hoover, the founder of the FBI. This movie was pretty good. It was better than I thought it was going to be. I like DiCaprio. He did a great job in this. And it really showcases how much of a scumbag J. Edgar Hoover was. He was a dirtbag for all intents and purposes. This was not a good man. I know some people tried to make him seem like he was a good man, but if he was anything, I mean anything like this movie, he was a fucking turd. Next up, we have Meryl Streep in The Iron Lady. The life of Margaret Thatcher, who was, if I'm not mistaken, she was the first and only Prime Minister of England. Now, up until this point, I'm not sure. I'm not too up on England politics, but from what I understand, she was the first and only female Prime Minister of England. I'm not sure if there's been any after her. I'm just not sure. But up until this point, great movie. Meryl Streep is, again, Hollywood gold. Certain actors, I just call them Hollywood gold. Speaking of Hollywood gold, here's Hollywood gold now. And I didn't call Denzel Washington Hollywood gold. He's like platinum. So we got Daniel Day-Lewis in Lincoln. This is a really good movie. I enjoyed it. Daniel Day-Lewis, again, Hollywood gold. Abraham Lincoln was the 16th president of the United States. You guys know that. He was assassinated. He also freed the slaves. So that was, for me, Abraham Lincoln, he get a win for me for that one. Next up, we have Gary Oldman as Winston Churchill in Darkest Hour. I don't know a lot about Winston Churchill, but I do know his contributions to the war efforts, and he became the prime minister. He was very much involved in British affairs, like he was in the military. He was in like their parliament. It's like our Congress, I think. He served, and then he became their prime minister, and he basically led them through their darkest hour. And he's a very significant figure in British history. No doubt about that. Do you know he was actually, when he left, when he gave up his, when he lost his prime ministership, years later, he got elected prime minister again. You don't see that over here where presidents get reelected as president. It doesn't happen because it can't happen constitutionally. Next up, we got a very good movie with a very underrated actor. He's not criminally underrated, but he is underrated. I think he's a really good talent. We have Paul Giamatti and John Adams. For those of you who don't know, John Adams was the second president of the United States. John Adams, he was also a president who thought slavery was a disgrace, and he was one of the few founding fathers who did not own slaves. If the books are correct, the history books are correct, he did not own slaves, and he did not own slaves, and he thought it was a disgrace. Now, again, he was the second president of the United States. The United States. Slavery didn't get dealt with until the 16th president, Lincoln. So, although he found it to be disgraceful, there was really not a whole lot he could do with it at that time. But again, John Adams, the second president of the United States. This is an HBO original miniseries. Fantastic. It's not really a movie, it's a miniseries, but it was good, well shot, well put together. I loved it. And Paul Giamatti, I think he's a great actor. I think he's brilliant, actually. Next up, we got one, Ashton Kutcher as Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs made Apple what it is today. Now, I'm not going to take anything from Tim Cook. Tim Cook took the ball and ran with it because Tim Cook just built on the Steve Jobs formula, and he made Apple the trillion-dollar company, the multi-trillion-dollar company that it is today. But all that groundwork was laid by Steve Jobs. And the people who worked with him, you know, all the shows and little documentaries and things I saw on Steve Jobs, all intents and purposes, everything looked like he was just a normal guy. You know, he was modest. He lived in a pretty modest home. He dressed modestly. He seemed like a really down-to-earth guy, but very, very smart and a savvy businessman. He helped build one of the biggest companies in the world, Apple. So he deserves to be on. He deserved to be on that list. So that's 10. Now let's take a look at a honorable mention. The honorable mention is going to be Michael Keaton in The Founder. All right. Say what you want. Ray Kroc was a bastard. Ray Kroc basically stole McDonald's. But let's keep it funky. The two McDonald brothers wouldn't have made McDonald's what it is. They just didn't have the savvy. But to give these guys $1 million each was highway robbery. But he did it. He got away with it. And he made McDonald's what it is today. You can say what you want about Ray Kroc. He was a piece of shit. He was a manipulator. He wasn't a thief. He stole it, but he didn't steal it. You understand what I'm saying? He robbed them blind. I'll say that. Okay, fine. He was a thief. He was a robber. He was a crook. He stole McDonald's, but he made McDonald's what it is today, which is a worldwide company. A lot of people hate McDonald's now. But a lot of people love McDonald's because if they didn't, McDonald's wouldn't have all those damn restaurants all around the world. Everybody who say they hate McDonald's now in their older years, as a kid, they loved McDonald's. They loved Happy Meals. We all love Chicken McNuggets. We all know the numbers, or 1, 2, what a 1 is, what a 2 is. So you can say whatever you want about McDonald's now. I know at some point in your life you loved McDonald's. Rather it was, when you was in your teens or when you was a little toddler with a snotty nose begging to go to McDonald's. So go ahead with all that. You hate McDonald's. The Founder. Well, that's 10 movies. That's subscriber requested number 2. Thanks for watching. And if you leave a suggestion for a video, I will try my best to put it together for you. Thanks for watching.